At the moment, everyone is pitching the idea of a Mr. Freeze storyline in the Batman 2, myself included, because honestly, Mr. Freeze is a super great villain. He's such a complex character that we have seen in live action before, notably in Batman and Robin, which, well, we know how that went. So I'd love to see Matt Reeves' version of the character because I feel like he could really do Mr. Freeze justice, and he kind of actually fits into this world if they can do a good grounded version of the character. So I would love to see that in the Batman 2, which of course has been officially confirmed. Matt Reeves, around the time of the release of the Batman in theaters, did confirm that Warner Brothers DC are developing a Batman sequel. So that's super awesome, but chances are Matt Reeves is going to go in a different direction than Mr. Freeze. So where else could we go with the Batman 2? Of course, there's always the possibility we could see Barry Keoghan's Joker, who was revealed at the end of the Batman, have him take on the role of the main villain in the sequel, but chances are, and according to rumors, we're going to be seeing him take the spotlight in the Arkham Asylum HBO Max series, so that's super exciting. Leave him for that. Now, of course, there's been a bunch of theories and just cool fan ideas of other villains we could see, like Deathstroke in the Court of Owls, and Two-Face and Hush, and all of those honestly would be amazing. Maybe we'll see them in the third movie, but today we're talking about a different villain who I wasn't really expecting to be the main villain of the Batman 2, but would also really work in this universe, and when I really think about it, really works as the main villain of this Batman sequel. So before I get into talking about who that villain is, you already know from the title and thumbnail anyway, but we're still going to drag it out a little bit longer. Let's talk about where this is coming from. So this is coming from an insider on Twitter known as Batman on Film. Definitely make sure to go check him out, follow him, all that stuff. But anyway, they are a supposed insider with Matt Reeves and the Batman movie development process. And we know that they actually have some validity because recently it was like a month or two ago, posted a cryptic image on Twitter of Golden Age Clayface from DC Comics. And we all thought, okay, is this a tease of like Clayface is going to be in the Batman 2? And, some people didn't take it seriously. It was like, oh, we can't trust him or anything. But like a week or two later, we got the official casting calls for the Penguin HBO Max series, of course, the spin-off from the Batman starring Colin Farrell, with confirmation that Clayface is going to be in that series. So clearly, this guy actually does have some validity and some insider-ness within the Batman world. So you can take some validity with this new report because today he put out another cryptic image, this time of the Mad Hatter. Mad as a Hatter. So could we see the Mad Hatter as the main villain of the Batman 2? And just to be clear, for those who don't know who the Mad Hatter is, no, I am not talking about the Disney version from Alice in Wonderland. Although this character does have connections to that version, but still, different character, because we are talking about the Batman villain, Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter. And the Mad Hatter, of course, is a classic Batman villain. He's known for hypnotizing his foes and, committing crimes, killing people throughout Gotham City. And he's, like I said, he's a classic Batman villain that, you'll see in Batman the Animated Series and stuff like that. But he's definitely nowhere near the type of popularity of the Joker or Penguin or the Riddler or Catwoman. He's definitely a kind of at least C-list villain because he's really not that powerful or that big of a threat to Batman usually. But they could do a similar route to what we're seeing now with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, where they're taking a character like the Spot, a super obscure C-list Spider-Man villain, and making him the main villain of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse Part 1, which is absolutely insane to bring that type of character into the spotlight. And they can now do that same thing with Jervis Tetch, aka the Mad Hatter, who we have actually seen in live action previously twice, I believe. So we, of course, saw him in the Adam West Batman series all the way back in 1966. And also, we got, honestly, a really great version of the character on the Gotham TV series. So if you have the chance, I highly recommend going and checking out that arc. I believe it was season 3 where they did the Mad Hatter storyline. Maybe it was season 2, I could be wrong, I really don't know for sure, but definitely check that out if you can because it's a great adaptation of the Mad Hatter storyline and that character. Now, what's really interesting is that coincidentally we almost saw the Mad Hatter in the Batman, the first Batman movie of this trilogy. And originally it was rumored that Barry Keoghan, who of course now we know is playing the Joker, he was originally rumored to be playing the Mad Hatter in this film. So it's really interesting that now we're coming back to reports that, hey, the Mad Hatter could actually be in this. So what kind of role could he play? Well, something I think is kind of interesting is that with those rumors of him originally being in the Batman movie, is that there was actually kind of some rumors of how he was going to be related to the plot. Because originally, when they first announced the Batman movie, all the villains they were going to be doing, Mad Hatter was on that list. So I'm not sure what happened, why he didn't end up being in the movie, but he originally was planned to be a part of the Batman. And a lot of reports I read about him were really interesting, mentioning that he was going to be a drug dealer. Now, I did a video on that a long time ago, years and years ago, that, you know, the Mad Hatter was going to be a drug dealer in this film, in this new grounded version of the character. And what's really interesting is we connected that to a set photo we got of the Batman with the drops. Because the drops, we first saw these in set photos, and all of us were super interested to find out what kind of villain they were connected to. Is this from the Joker? Is this from the Scarecrow? Or maybe Mad Hatter? Now this is where things start to make sense, because we could see possibly a reveal in the Batman 2 that the Mad Hatter is indeed the one behind the drops, and I think that could be a really cool storyline and a great way to do a grounded version of the Mad Hatter, because instead of doing the crazy Mad Hatter with a top hat that, you know, springs out with a little spinny thing that hypnotizes you, that's kind of a little too unrealistic. They could do instead, the Mad Hatter has, maybe he's like this crazy scientist, he created this drug known as the drops, widespread throughout Gotham City, and now it is making people hallucinate. Instead of actually hypnotizing people, well, I mean, they could integrate that here in some sort of way. That would be really interesting as well. But make it so that it's making people hallucinate, and possibly because Jervis Tetch is so obsessed with the whole Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland storyline, that's of course why he dresses like the Mad Hatter and calls himself the Mad Hatter, it could maybe even have some sort of relation to that, with making people have hallucinations that they're in that storyline, and like you know, it could be really cool. Again, they could take some inspiration from what they did on Gotham. I think this would be honestly a lot of fun, and again, taking such a kind of obscure but classic Batman villain and bringing him to the forefront here would be awesome, especially considering that, you know, the Mad Hatter, like he's like one of the least powerful Batman villains, but making him the main villain of the Batman 2 would be really cool, because then this way they could also, like the first Batman movie, still do a detective mystery story, but instead of doing what they did with the Riddler, oh, this crazy serial killer, we need to do a whole murder mystery, find out who the serial killer is, they could then do, all right, there's this drug out there, who is behind it? And then we get the big reveal of the Mad Hatter. It could be really cool. It could be another kind of psychological film for Robert Pattinson's Bruce Wayne and Batman to tackle. And I think that would be awesome. I think this would be really a lot of fun. And, you know, again, Batman in film has a lot of credibility here with teasing Clayface and now teasing Mad Hatter, whether he is going to be in the Batman 2 as the main villain or is just maybe a smaller side villain like what we saw with the Penguin or Catwoman. They could possibly even have him in one of the HBO Max series, maybe in the Penguin HBO Max series, maybe in the Arkham series alongside Barry Keoghan's Joker. There's a lot of possibilities with this, and I'm really excited to see the future of Matt Reeves' Batman universe, because it's not connected to the DCU. It's its own pocket universe, and that just opens up so many possibilities for the future, and it's something I'm really, really excited to see. But guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What do you think about the idea and possibility of seeing the Mad Hatter in the Batman 2, possibly even as the main villain? What do you think for casting? I saw some ideas of maybe a Mark Hamill if they want to go on the older side, maybe get a younger actor instead, like what we were thinking with Barry Keoghan. What do you also think of the twist of doing a drug dealer version of the Mad Hatter? So anyways, guys, let me know all your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments below. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the DC life.